Now, it's staying on the Syracuse orange in the draft, Devendorf. Where's he? Is he even on the radar?
Europe.
He's going to Europe.
You know what?
Well, that's what I would think. Yeah.
I got an interesting take on Devendorf.
Yo, you love Devendorf.
Well, yeah.
That's the thing, you love Devendorf.
I'm a Devendorf guy because I think he has heart and everything. But it's known that I love Devendorf. But, like, I think a lot of times, and this is something that we can talk about, but I think a lot of times white guys get unduly knocked for their lack of skill. Because, like, Eric Devendorf reminds me a lot
of Woody Harrelson?
No, he reminds me a lot of Ben Gordon. I mean, Ben Gordon's a 6'4" guy that kind of plays tough, is not super athletic. He can shoot, and he can get to the basket and score and can't do much else. But it seems like if it's a white dude, they knock the other things more. Well, he can't play defense. He's not athletic. Well, neither is Ben Gordon. I mean, it's the same situation with, like, Kevin Love and a guy like, Carlos Boozer, where they basically have the same skill set, but Kevin Love is knocked for his lack of athleticism.
So would you say there's kind of a racial undertone? You being a black man yourself, if you see a white guy walk on the court, do you say, "Oh my God, what's this white kid doing"?
I'm a half brother. Well, it depends on the venue. I mean, back in my playing days, it depends on the venue because, like, if you're in an AAU game and a white kid comes on the court, and he's on a team with all black kids,
he's good.
He's good. If you're going to Syracuse University and a white kid comes on the court, he's good. But I just think a lot of times at the draft level, the negatives of white kids, like a good example would be like J.J. Redick. He hasn't played all year for the Magic, and they put Courtney Lee in because he's more athletic and he can guard better. Well, J.J. Redick did a better job of guarding Ray Allen than Courtney Lee did when they played the Celtics.
Right.
All right. So that's our basketball talk.
I had a little bit of a theory. Actually, I shouldn't say I came up with this myself, but a friend of mine had a theory that
on white guys
that Devendorf, because of his off the court issues, may have been asked to not come back.
Oh, well, there's something there because you know what? When I worked at the OD, I didn't cover Syracuse, so you get that out. This other guy, John, covered Syracuse. I tried to call Boeheim a couple times. He didn't call me back.
He's probably sleeping.
Well, he doesn't know me, so
sleeping.
we'll give him a pass on that. He didn't call back, but I do feel like a lot of times coaches should be more reticent of the people that support their team. I mean, if you're from Utica, you're part of the people that pay for tickets to go to Syracuse. So if the Utica paper calls you as a coach of Syracuse, to me, it's almost a thank you obligation. Utica, Syracuse, Rochester, it's an obligation to call the reporter back. But that's my own grudge. But here's what I'll say about that situation. When that came out, if you read the stories, Boeheim, the first thing was Boeheim said that Syracuse reported that Devendorf and Harris might not come back. And in that article, Boeheim said something to the effect of, Harris told me before the game, our last game, that he was leaving. And then they asked Paul Harris, and he said, I didn't say that. But if he wants me to go, I'll go. And Devendorf, the buzz is that he got so frustrated with how the university treated him with his incident because he didn't feel like he did anything wrong. He already got a degree. Devendorf will graduate.
Right.
But it's just a year early. Right. Because he had that redshirt year. So he's been in school for 4 years. So it came down to people thought Devendorf left because he was hostile towards Syracuse University for how he was treated. And, he's had more than one incident, by the way.
Right, yeah.
It wasn't just one incident.
This one got a lot of press.
I just want to say that. Yeah, and the reason why Mark says I'm a Devendorf lover.
Because you are.
Well, the reason why he says this is because I wrote a blog when I was
saying I love
the OD.
Eric Devendorf.
And the blog said, what's the difference between Eric Devendorf and John Daly? And when I went to go cover the PGA Tour event, everybody was looking for John Daly, and they're telling stories. Oh, he was drunk in the casino, and he's not. And they love John Daly. I mean, they want him to sign balls, and the guy completely left in the middle of the tournament. He said he hurt his back, but he was shooting bad, and it was just like, it seemed kind of classless, And but people love him. He's got a following, and I know that from going to that event at the OD. People would complain about Devendorf all the time. They wouldn't even let you bring up his name, And so
he who must not be named.
Yeah. So my question is, what's the difference between Devendorf and Daly? They both had run-ins where women have alleged they beat him. Bailey was suspended by the PGA Tour, except he's much worse. His rap sheet is much longer, but he
mugshots are classic.
Well, he was on that tour bus in Virginia and was kicked out of a Hooters.
Yeah,
right.
How'd he get kicked out of Hooters? But come on,
he plays a sport that takes place in country clubs. He wears khaki pants when he's dressed. I mean, there's times when you play golf with his shirt off and a collared shirt. And Devendorf has tattoos and wears baggy shorts. And I think sometimes the characteristics of how you look go hand in hand with how people perceive you. They think John Daly's an everyman. Excuse me, every man doesn't get kicked out of Hooters and get accused of beating women and get suspended for PGA Tours. And I don't know if he beat the woman or not, but I know he's accused of it.